Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we're here to give you this week's reading recommendations on New Comic Book Day. And we've got a highly anticipated new number one, followed by another highly anticipated new number one in probably the two hottest universes that are happening in mainline comics right now.
Yeah, I think so.
So let's dive right in because it's exciting. And it was a massive week, so there's so much to cover.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got, Fritz?
Yeah, so my pick this week is Absolute Catwoman issue 1. So if you haven't been reading Absolute Batman or anything, to get you up to speed here pretty quick. Basically, so Catwoman, she was friends.
Is there anyone who hasn't been reading Absolute Batman? We can't keep it in stock.
Yeah,
it's been 2 years.
Yeah, it feels like at this point, the only people who haven't been reading are just people who don't read comics in general. So, and even then, there's people who haven't been reading comics who are coming checking it out.
Or those that just have to be against the grain. Nope, too many people say it's good. I can't possibly like it.
Yeah. But yeah, so this series follows up from where we saw Selena there. So in this universe, she's still kind of like a thief and everything, as we kind of know her. But they kind of do the inverse flip of, normally she's kind of just got her wits and her skills she's gone over time, and Batman's got a similar thing, but all this money and gadgets and all that.
Yeah,
it's the inverse here where
I love that.
Yeah, the whole she's basically got her. I think they even call it the cat cave.
They call it the cat cave.
Yeah, and she's got all these gadgets, which is really funny because she's I haven't even really gotten to use most of these.
Yeah.
But she's looking to leave that life behind. She's I've got really everything I need, or feel like I need kind of deal. There's definitely there's a running thread through here of she's got all these kind of monetary things, all these kind of status things, but she's missing a lot of these kind of more personal aspects. Correct. And some of that's not been within her control. Some of it's been by choice. It seems like there's been if you can't.
Some of it is through experiences where she's learned that certain connections are maybe a detriment to her safety. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's kind of looking to just kind of get out of this life, kind of just enjoy everything she's built up over this time. And then in typical fashion, when you're trying to get out of a dangerous lifestyle, the lifestyle just kind of pulls you back in.
Yeah.
And she's got to deal with people trying to rob her, people trying to threaten other people that she maybe knows.
Yep.
There's some familiar faces, some new absolute versions of some familiar faces for longtime Bat family readers here.
Some of which revealed in the last panel of the book.
Yeah, I can definitely say some people like to somehow get a hold of their books a couple days ahead of time and just post pictures online. And
you monsters!
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, why
you
would
can't.
You can't. Was it spoiled for you?
Oh yeah. No, I just you can't wait 2 days till a Wednesday to do this to the point where DC had to announce a thing early because of it.
Oh, that's some...
Yeah. So thank you for that. That's my little mini rant about you people. Not that I think any of the people watching this are these people.
Oh, that could be edited in such a way.
Oh, please no one clip...
Blackmail.
Please no one clip that soundbite. But yeah, no, so it's... A good chunk of this issue is just a bunch of high-octane action. You get a bunch of cool fights. You get a whole motorcycle chase,
explosions.
So many explosions. There's a whole point where she's just oh, they're trying to cause a pileup to stop me from getting to them. Well, joke's on them. I have a workaround for that.
Right? This had one of the coolest person flying out of an explosion. Not really silhouetted, but they're in the foreground and the explosion happening behind them as they're fall. And we went back to it, but that initial one was just so cool looking.
And part of that is just the way that this suit for Catwoman is designed is so cool. The fact that they found a way to incorporate a cat tail and make it super cool.
A prehensile cat tail she controls with her brain.
Yeah, no, that is super cool.
Very
and
cool.
all of it is just expertly rendered by Bengal, who I know I've seen them on other stuff before. I feel like this is kind of be their breakout role, just oh, you see them on a book now, you're this is going to be a good looking book. Yeah. and the quieter moments too, because there's a lot of you get a lot of flashbacks to earlier points in Selena's timeline where it's showing how she becomes the woman she is now, and even those very quiet moments just does a really good job, especially the facial expressions.
I thought that the tonal changes that happened there were really good. Mm-hmm. It really sometimes they'll bring in two artists, and one will handle the flashbacks and one will handle the happening now stuff. Mm-hmm. Here they just did a really good job of just kind of changing it up, both color-wise, but also pencils-wise.
I think it helps that a lot of the flashbacks are usually depicted more in the daytime.
Yes.
So it's this much warmer color palette for everything, and then the stuff that's happening right now, it's at night. Yeah, there's explosions and fire and stuff, but there's this much cooler. It very much kind of shows the dichotomy between the two sections of her life, really.
And up until this point, have we only seen young Selena as drawn by Dragota?
I think so, yeah, because
it very much, I knew exactly without when I glanced at the panel, I was like, that's young Selena. I've absolutely seen her before. This is familiar.
That's the cool thing. Bengal's art style is very different from Dragota, but still somehow is able to capture the exact feeling that he brings to her character design, being the one who have made her, and make it feel at home. Another thing that I think makes it feel very at home with that series and a lot of the other Absolute stuff in general is having Snyder as co-writer on the book.
Yeah.
But also, Shay Grayson, the other co-writer, really, really, you can kind of tell that Snyder's kind of here's the general idea and character notes on what I've figured out with Selena, but really kind of letting Grayson do her thing with this book too.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's mostly done more kind of indie stuff. This is, I think, one of her first big forays into also doing kind of a big 2-book. And yeah, I think she's doing a really good job here with it. Yeah, she's also going to be fully writing the Sir one-shot. If you haven't been spoiled yet, I'm not going to say anything, but you've probably seen DC announce it yesterday. But yeah, there's a one-shot coming out of this issue that'll be interesting to see what's going on there.
Oh,
yeah.
We'll have to talk about that offline. I haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, super good. I'm super excited. We talked about this with the Green Arrow one. These 2 books are only solicited as 6 issues, but they've said that if the interest is there and the teams want to keep doing it, that we will do more. Considering we sold out of Green Arrow almost instantly, I'm going to be shocked that it doesn't happen here. So make sure you get put down for it. Don't be surprised if it gets turned into an ongoing.
Yeah. Also, that kind of segues into, we are working on improvements for the app. I mean, we are not. We're working on implementing some of the improvements that are being developed into the app right now, and then know that there are also improvements that are in the works with the app that we're going to try to implement as soon as we're capable on our ends. So keep using the app, keep using the website, and if those aren't your jam, please contact us so that we can get you signed up for stuff in advance. Because, we keep selling out of stuff like crazy, and I feel like I'm ordering stupid amounts of things. So, anyway, the more you know.
Yeah. Speaking of knowing more, and a book that actually, in a similar situation, was marked for a certain number of issues and has been extended. Your pick this week.
Well, it's because Jeff Lemire is killing it on The Fury of Firestorm, issue number 3. So we get to find out a little bit more, and you reminded me of this, that we actually had some of this information dropped in Doomsday Clock way back in the day.
Yeah, so...
back when I still had some color in my hair, there was Doomsday Clock.
Gray's a color.
Gray is a color. But this, again, this book, so what happens in this book? Not a lot. Basically, we get a whole lot of information as to what's going on.
I mean, you get some fights and stuff, too.
Yeah, but it's kind of like fights that you're seeing the fight happening, but you're getting the narrators kind of telling us what's going on in what everybody else is trying to do to figure out how do we fix this situation? How do we approach this situation? So you get a little bit of both, but I guess to me it's more kind of the general vibe of this book that is really nailing it for me. And so there's a bit of mystery, and we're kind of figuring out now, okay, this is why stuff is happening the way that it's happening. Here's the backstory. Here's how that got us to where we're at. We still have no idea how to fix this situation.
Yeah.
And it could be that because, the Firestorm entity is so powerful that whoever's in control of it is capable of doing terrible, terrible things if that is, their inclination. So then how do we stop it? But it's kind of, this particular issue is a lot more character driven.
Yeah, it's very, and in a way that, like we were talking about, there's stuff that was introduced with Doomsday Clock that they're expanding on here, and it was a choice that at the time I know a lot of people weren't fans of, but if we're going to stick with it, I'm happy that they're actually really devoting time to digging into the messy nature of it all.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I don't know. I think that a lot of times those types of decisions are controversial in the moment, but if they're written well, they hold up against the test of time. If they're not written well, then that's kind of the example that people point to. See, you retconned this, and now that's terrible. And it's it really comes down to more: is it done deftly, or is it done, ham-handedly?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of retcons that work. The big one that always gets brought up is the whole Swamp Thing isn't actually Al Collin thing.
Yeah.
Everyone, that's just kind of one of those ones where everyone's just oh yeah, that was it works. It allowed all these other different stories to be told.
Yep.
Then there's other ones that I don't know. I've always hated the whole thing of just Reverse Flash killed Barry's mom. It's just that's so dumb. What is, this doesn't add anything to the character.
Sure.
The only thing it really gave us was a bunch of memes of Thawne going, she's it was me, Barry. Which, I don't know, I feel we could have gone that without having to do that.
Which one is the more well-known to kind of the average, But, and you look at, Bucky surviving and becoming Winter Soldier. That is a beloved storyline now. There were certainly some people that were upset at that time, but for every one of those, you've probably got about 10 that were done that are just is that better though? It's just a matter of how well it's done. But Jeff Lemire's doing a really good job. And I think that part of that is because in order to do this, he decided to make this book creepy kind of all the way around.
Yeah.
Because that particular change to the origin of Firestorm is creepy.
Yeah.
It's not creepy in kind of the horror suspensey kind of way that the book starts with issue 1, where you've basically got Firestorm in a small town in the mountains just
doing stuff.
Experimenting on people or whatever he's doing. I don't know. It had kind of a Dr. Manhattan kind of lost his mind kind of vibe. It's what happens if I melt a person? But... And
I think a big part of that is De La Torre on art really can't, because it's somehow able to render these very traditional superhero sequences, both in turn, there are just certain sequences that are drawn more to look like that, but even the times where it is kind of these other moments, you really feel these are superheroes on the page, but there's a certain level of discomfort and realism to the whole situation too, of just these people aren't actually going to be enough for what the situation requires. I think really helps.
There's something just slightly off-putting, or it puts you at a bit of unease in all of it, which is great because it does. It's Firestorm is kind of like a Dr. Manhattan kind of character to an extent. So, and Dr. Manhattan always made everybody uncomfortable. Yeah. So that really works.
Yeah, because it's a power set that, taken to its natural extreme, is one of the more terrifying ones you could possibly have. And we've seen versions of the character where that, you go back to Blackest Night, it's just oh, what if I just turn this person into salt? It is a power set that opens itself up to these more uncomfortable implications versus some other stuff like super speed or being able to make things with a ring. There's just other things going on there, and just how the power sets work of having these two people combined, that just has these more unsettling implications.
Yeah, absolutely. Which works because he's the nuclear man.
Yeah.
It's kind of hitting somebody with a club, okay, we can all kind of understand that. Somebody dying of radiation poisoning is much more horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, it's our brain to be able to process.
I mean, it's part of also, I think one of the things that makes the Hulk work is when you have someone whose power set is very tied into this, very, because the whole thing with nuclear power, there's all this kind of potential and, things you can do, but there's also this inherent, destructive capability. There's a history of people, suffering from it in some fashion. I think if you're going to do a story that involves anything to do with that, you have to have this certain level of unease with it too.
Agreed. All right. Well, I highly recommend if you haven't picked up this one yet, which the first couple issues sold really well.
Yeah.
So I'm in. Yeah, this one was announced as no, it hasn't been announced as being extended yet.
Well, no. So it was
this one was Green Arrow and Catwoman haven't.
Yeah, they haven't made sense. This was originally just going to be a 6 issue. They've upped it to 8. So if it keeps selling well, people keep responding well, maybe we're going to keep getting more. I definitely want more. Because depending on where this all ends, I could see Firestorm being in a very interesting place by the end.
Yeah, well, and it's right in the wheelhouse of what DC's doing well right now.
Yeah.
So keep on. Well, speaking of possibly being exposed to radiation and it doing awful things to your body.
Yeah. We've got our joint pick this week, even though I feel like every pick this week has been a joint pick, really.
It really has, yeah.
Oh,
good
the
week.
fly's back. Oh, it flew away. Now it's back again.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
It would have been. Anyways, Mask, issue 1 from the Energon universe. And, yeah, this is one where... So, I've talked about this to a certain extent with, G.I. Joe. Just, I, know a fair amount about G.I. Joe and all that, but it's not anything I've ever been, super into.
Yeah.
And... as a result, I've been very impressed with how much the current series has been able to pull me in and make me care about a lot of these characters and concepts.
Yep.
Mask is a thing that
happened.
Yeah. Well, I love there's even at the end of the issue, there's a whole letter from Dan Waters, the writer.
Oh, I didn't read that. I'll have to go do that.
It's great because he talks about he's British, so they never really got G.I. Joe over there. They got Action Man.
Yes.
But they got Mask, and he didn't really know what they were supposed to be because it's just these weird dudes in suits who drive weird vehicles.
Yeah.
And so he would just kind of make up his own stories for them as a kid.
Yeah.
Because it's always just one of those weird Hasbro just kind of throwing did you get it?
For the sake of our audience, I'll say yes.
Sure. But yeah, it's always just been kind of this one of those weird stepchilds because even some of the other stuff they've had. Micronauts has a bit more of kind of a built-in idea going there.
Yep.
ROM has a bit more of a built-in idea going there. And Mask has just kind of been one of those things that just they're just guys in suits who drive weird vehicles that can become other vehicles, but they're not really Transformers, they're not really G.I. Joe. It's just, they're just kind of there. And the fact that...
And their scale fits right between the two.
Yeah, that was also... Because we've had some of the toys come through, and yeah, they're weird. I'm not sure what to make of them.
Yeah.
But because of all that, because they have always just been this kind of they're just kind of they're part of Hasbro's line of things they can pull from, it really allows anyone who wants to do anything with them just kind of do their own thing.
A lot more free reign. Yeah. If you change, some of the core components of a particular character in Mask, the number of people who are going to get upset about it are vastly smaller than, say, G.I. Joe or Transformers.
They changed Rax's hair color. I'm mad. Sure, buddy, okay. But yeah, so because of that, they really just kind of sounds obviously some of the stuff with the group has been established in the G.I. Joe and Transformers books coming out right now, that they reference that, the whole thing with that we've met Matt Tracker a couple times, Miles Mayhem, and his whole relationship with General Flag and the Shadow Force.
That's really a lot of what we've seen so far. Yeah. Is how that played out.
Yeah, and so in here we get to kind of see now what happens now that both of them are kind of on their own. They're aware of each other and are trying to stop each other, and how they kind of fit into the wider scheme of things. And yeah, I really dig how they're kind of treating this as they're, as much as they're tied into a lot of the ongoing stuff, the big thing here is that Miles seems to be kind of insane, and being told that there's just giant alien robots running around kind of drove him over the edge. Which that would probably mess someone up.
I loved that because how many bad guys that are just making a power play can you have in the Energon universe, right? So you got to come up with some interesting nuances between, say, Miles and Cobra Commander and Megatron and whatever.
And yeah, I love.
He's nuts.
Yeah, Miles Mayhem's thing of just like, oh, I'm the only one who can like save humanity from all these threats, no matter, and I will kill as many people as I have to like do that.
The description that Tracker has for the types of things that Miles believes and why he believes them was just great.
Yeah, and so then Tracker then kind of having to be like, listen, because like the government's trying to like bring him in, like, hey, you understand Miles and everything. We can work together. Ryan, just like, you literally the first time he gave you an opportunity to, you tried and throw me in prison. Like, absolutely not. They kind of like delve into a little. There's like a certain level of like cooperation that's going to exist, but it's very much on his kind of like his say so. Just like, you get to know what I want you to know.
Yeah, he's dictating the terms.
Yeah, which
partnership going.
Which, man, they make him so cool in here.
He's very cool.
Like everything about him, like the whole car chase at the beginning. Which also the Pipar on art. I knew I was going to enjoy this because I loved his stuff on Petrolhead. Dude knows how to draw a cool car sequence.
Yeah,
and yeah, him getting to do a thing where it's just a bunch of people in cool, weird vehicles flying around, driving around, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah, no, he knocks it out of the park. And the action sequences, the little like characters. There's the whole bit where Miles is kind of like explaining his whole thing to someone, and he just really captures like how like weird and uncomfortable the situation is so well.
Yeah, and they do a really good job of kind of delineating all the characters in Venom too, and like, they're evil, but they're all different kinds of evil.
Yeah, considering these are all characters that I'm sure in some stuff here and there, because I know IDW took a stab at doing some of these characters. I'm sure there was some stuff written up for them back in the 80s when they were coming up.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's aspects of any of those takes that are like in here, but it also just really feels like I would not be shocked if this is the first time any of these characters have actually felt like actual people on the page.
Yeah.
And
I vaguely remember the I mean, I don't remember. Visually, I remember the cartoon. I don't remember a whole lot about the characters.
But no, everything about this just feels. If you didn't know this was supposed to be on like some old toy franchise, you would just be able to hop and be like, oh, this is just like a cool, weird, like sci-fi adventure book. Yeah. Like that's the thing. It exudes coolness. Like everything about it just seems like designed to just be like this super cool action adventure series.
Which is funny because that's kind of the knock on it versus G.I. Joe and Transformers in their G1 forms.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that was G2 for G.I. Joe, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, now that you think about it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so to make Mass cool is just a feat in and of itself. So I'm really interested in seeing, because we've got very small groups now. We've only seen a couple of characters that Tracker is probably going to recruit into his group, and Venom is all of 3 people right now. And certainly the stable of characters was larger in the toy line than the original cartoon. So one would guess that we're going to have kind of a recruiting event going on in this first volume. But
and you can like see some of like the characters that'll be joining. We even got to meet like maybe 1 or 2 of them back in the Free Comic Book Day issue. So there's definitely more players to be introduced and how they're all going to mesh together, because it sounds like the way that Tracker's having this work, it's less of like a formal team and more of a, you are like my contacts, you are people I know, I will pull you in for like specific missions where your expertise is going to be like helpful.
Which that is cool, because I kind of remember that being a little bit of a thing, like they would, the characters that would show up in individual issues, it was kind of based on like who was going to be helpful in that particular situation.
And again, I think it also is one of those things that really helps it stand out against like the Transformers or G.I. Joe. Because while there's certain aspects of like Joe where there's like characters who aren't like on the actual current team who have been pulled in for stuff here and there.
Right now, anyway.
They're still very much like, this is like our team, like we have our orders kind of stuff. And having it be this thing of just like, you just get like a call from Matt one day, just like, hey, I need you for a job. Like I think,
on your watch.
Like I think
Which
that's
I think
like,
that was also a thing too. I don't remember.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's funny how like certain things in the past just kind of like they only show up when we're doing these videos. I swear to God, like
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but like it's also just kind of cool when you have these old like stuff from old fiction. And it's just like, oh, that's just a thing now in real life.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny how that works.
Thanks, Dick Tracy.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Hopefully, the only thing from those stories that becomes more of a common thing.
Mumbles. Okay, so it was a big week this week. What was close to making it to the table but didn't quite make the cut? These are 3 amazing books. You should absolutely all buy them. Everybody will love them universally. There's no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. Our taste is impeccable.
So finally, speaking of Amazon Universe, the new issue of Transformers this week was also like it feels like after the first arc was kind of like Kirkman transitioning the book into where like he wants to go with it versus where it left off with Johnson's run. Like it really feels like now we're going to get into delve into the meat of what he really wants to do.
The board is set now.
Yeah, like all the new like status quos for certain characters, both on Earth and on Cybertron, where I was not expecting as much Cybertron stuff to happen this issue as did, and very excited to see what happens there because
Interesting. Yeah. I had a revelation while I was reading that, and that's that Spike's dad is in the Matrix. Mm-hmm. Which I kind of forgot about when the Matrix changed hands. There's
something might come of that.
The Transformer who is now in possession of the Matrix. And we know in the way that these stories are written that the Matrix has an effect on that person, or Transformer, I guess. So is that going to change their mind about their position on a particular issue?
Yeah. Like there's definitely like it comes up subtly a couple times in this issue to the extent that it's just
that there's something happening.
There's something going on there for sure.
But is it Sparkplug?
Yeah. But so that was really good. Other stuff this week, there's a new book from I think was it Image or Dark Horse? Dark Horse called Skater Alley, where it's this kind of like this cyberpunky future where skateboarding has been outlawed, so there's these gangs of skateboarders.
That's right. I read the preview for that.
Yeah, but they also like have this weird kind of like magic called the Rush that they don't really like get into, but it's a fun little read. I'm kind of curious about checking out more of it. Otherwise, new issue of Mortal Thor was really good. We've got the new big Marvel event book started this week, Avengers Armageddon.
I know that it's been quite a while since we've done Mortal Thor as a pick, but that book's flying under the radar. I think Al Ewing's not getting enough credit.
He really, like, this book, like, if anything, I've kind of been enjoying this part of his whole story more than, like, I really enjoyed the Immortal Thor aspect of everything, but just getting to see Sigurd, like, deal with all this, like, stuff where he is vastly outclassed by everyone he's fighting, but finding a way to actually, like, win.
Well, and they're bringing back all of the very early characters. They have brought back all of the very early characters that Thor had to face, like the very rough, hard-to-read Silver Age
When was the last time Grey Gargoyle got to do anything?
Yeah.
Like, after what happened to him, he probably wishes he hadn't. But
well, and his first 2 major villains on Earth were Cobra and Hyde. So, to have them be the first 2 that he took on, and spoiler alert, that was 10 issues ago or whatever. But, so, anyway, Sorry, I digress.
Oh, yeah.
Avengers Armageddon.
Came out this week. If you're also a Magic fan, each issue comes with a Magic card.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I checked with Ryan. It doesn't look like it's really worth anything, so if you don't want, you can
Is it a particular card, or is it a random card?
It's actually the variant right at the corner there, the Ryan Segman variant, that was also the cover for the free comic book day, is like the art.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's all just that card.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, so that's a neat little, like, tie-in. We've got the new set coming out next week. Are we for sure it's coming out next week? I know there was some concern about like a shipping delay or something.
Not for us.
Okay, then that's good. I know that had been the thing that had been brought up just to like be aware of.
There were customers that came in that said that they had been told that, but we're our distributor.
Well, on that note, if you're big into Magic, or if you're
big into Marvel,
or if you're curious about getting into either, new Marvel Magic set comes out next week.
Yep. It's gonna be exciting.
Yep. Any other big ones this week that you were
Daredevil was very good. You touched on a lot of them. I feel like there was something else that I read, though, that... Transformers, Daredevil.
You were M1. You were talking about
I wanted to. I didn't get to it, but I wanted to check that out because that's Jai Lee's new book, and it looks very cool, and the concept is interesting. So it's a monster race league.
Something like that.
Yeah, so I intend to check that out. We also got the movie version of Masters of the Universe from Dark Horse, right?
Yeah, I think I flipped through it. It looks like it's kind of supposed to be like what was going on with some of the characters like in between events of the movie or something like that.
Yeah, so interesting. On the cartoon front from the 80s, though, we got Thundercats, the classic years, Volume 1 from Dynamite. So if you want to see the old school Thundercats comic book, here you go, in a graphic novel, which is very sharp.
Also, on the Absolute side of things, we got Volume 2 of Absolute Green Lantern in both in softcover and hardcover. Yeah. So definitely check that out if you haven't been reading that book. So
these are the Marvel comics that Jim Shooter oversaw at the time. So very cool. Yeah, this is just a restock. Should have done that. But yeah, very good. So it's a great week. A lot of fun stuff to read. Some out there stuff, some kind of more mainline stuff, a lot of good things. So we will be back next week because we love reading comics and telling you all about them. That's what we do. Be sure to like, follow, comment, subscribe, share, do all of those good things. Most importantly, stop on into your local comic shop, support them, and get yourself some comic books because it's just a great thing to do. We will be back next week as previously stated. Until then, enjoy the reading. All right, yes, we're all good. Everything's good.
Hooray.